you here today is not only to tell you about how to do business with Super Bowl 50 through the Business Connect program, but as I said at the beginning, it's also about helping to build your business for your greater success so that you can compete successfully for those opportunities, but of course go well beyond that. And we're really privileged today to have someone who I've known for a number of years to be able to speak to us, Michael Bush. And I'm going to bring Michael out in a moment. But I'm going to say a little bit about him, actually a personal vignette. So I met Michael as a philanthropist, and he's many things, and that's one of them. And I'm at a meeting because I was also a funder through my organization of this organization, and they had invited us to come because they were going to be talking to Michael about maybe getting involved. And I sat there and I just listened, observed, because we were kind of there to give moral support. And Michael was asking these questions of this nonprofit organization that operated some amazing programs, some feeding programs, some child development programs. What's the social return on investment? What's the investment thesis for this program? And I said, this man is onto something. He thinks constantly about how businesses work. And that's what's attributed to his great success as an entrepreneur, as an executive of very large corporations, and now, importantly for all of us, as a teacher, and someone who speaks directly to you about how to be successful in business. So without further ado, I want to bring out to the stage a good friend, a great leader here in Oakland and in the Bay Area, Mr. Michael Bush.
Is this mine? Hi, everybody. Thanks, Jason. It's kind of funny. Keith, the CEO of the host committee, is Jason's boss. And so he left. And he had a lot of things to do. He's got a lot of important things to do. But I was sitting here listening to Jason talk about how hard he was working in Arizona at the Super Bowl. All I saw was pictures of parties. I was watching him go through his phone. It was just pictures of parties. So his boss isn't here, so we can say, I think we know what Jason was doing at the Super Bowl. He was having a good time. So what I'm going to do today is, and I'm very happy to be here, is talk to a bunch of people who are just like me, small business people, running small businesses on their own, looking to do more and more and more to meet their personal goals. I'm also very happy, like everybody is, that the Super Bowl is in the Bay Area. When I first heard the announcement a couple of years ago, I thought Super Bowl committees made up of geniuses. I mean, what a great decision. Now, actually, it's not that tough of a decision. About 3 miles ago, 3 miles from here, we have 3 Super Bowl trophies. About 5 miles away, just across the bay, we have 5 Super Bowl trophies. We actually have 8 Super Bowl trophies within a 5-mile radius. There's no place in the world where that's true. So actually, it was a pretty straightforward decision. As a matter of fact, I think Super Bowl 51 ought to be here, 52, and so on, until somebody else gets 8. We'll let it go at that point. So this is what got us all going. We had some idea, something that we wanted to do, and that idea became an opportunity. It became a business opportunity, some way that we felt we could personally express ourselves through this thing called business. It wasn't easy. We decided to do it. The thing that sets us apart from most people is this is what other people see. They see a bunch of barriers, things that are in the way, all the things that could go wrong. We don't see the world that way, or we wouldn't be in this room. We would have jobs. But most of us are unemployable. I'll just speak for myself. Okay? Because we see the world differently. This is what we see. Okay, we pick our head up. We can see far into the future, nothing but good things. It separates us from other people. Some people, you hang around them and, hey, things are going good. We got the best weather in the world. How are things? Yeah, but it's a little breezy for me today. That's people like this. Okay? They just have this outlook that's kind of negative. It's the way they see the world. We don't see it that way. We see it this way. It's sunrise. Every day's a new day. Maybe it didn't go well, but we're going to make it happen today. That's what separates the small business person. That's what separates the entrepreneur. It's this layer of optimism. It's the way we see the world. The truth is hard to find, but I'm going to be searching for it today. Because I think the key, certainly in business and in negotiation, is finding out what's really true. Because the customer doesn't always tell us the truth, and the person on the other side of the table that we're negotiating with doesn't tell us the truth. So we have to find it on our own. So that's what I'm going to be exploring today. It's hard to find. When I was growing up, go to a restaurant, be a menu, it would say salad. You can't say salad now. You got to say something like this. Okay? Things have changed. You got to say something like this now. When I was growing up, you could have a menu. You get to say something like oatmeal. You can't do it now. It's got to be like this now. All right? Same food, but it's got to be said like this. And you better have something like this on your Instagram and Pinterest. Okay? The truth is hard to find. Because if you ask somebody, does it make a difference what you call the food? They'll say, absolutely not. I know good food. And I'll tell you what good food is. Well, research has shown time and time again, this is the truth. People actually think food described with vivid adjectives tastes better. There have been studies where they describe food a certain way, get oatmeal, give it to them, and another one that they describe vividly, and they say it tastes better. People are weird. But we got to learn how to do business with them. Okay, the truth is hard to find. If you ask people directly, you're rarely going to get it. So we have to work harder. Customer is always right. We grew up hearing this. We've been in business. I know what you're thinking. This is crazy talk. Now we got to let them think they're always right. We don't want to debate with them. But they aren't. I was lucky. It's my dad. He's happy. That's why I love this picture. Passed away a long time ago. But I love the picture because his face is happy. The reason he's happy is he's doing the favorite thing in his life, telling me what to do. The man is ecstatic in this moment. But he's the one who taught me. Self-employed man, worked for himself for 52 years. He's the one who taught me the customer's not always right. But you got to let them think they're right. But you got to lead them to the truth. They won't always get there on their own. This guy has a PhD. My dad taught me this, though. The customer always wants a good deal. They'll say they want a fair price and a low price. They really want a good deal. They'll actually sometimes pay more as long as you make them think they're getting a good deal. Let's say I'm in the biscotti business. I'm not, but let's say I am. I make biscotti. I make great biscotti. You know what? It's Biscotti Thursday. 2 bags for the price of 1. Okay? That's what customers want, to know something special is happening just for them. That's what they want. Good deal. Another thing, untruth. Build a better mousetrap, and the world will be the path to your door. It sounds really good. Many people believe it. The mousetrap has been patented over 5,000 times, more than any item or idea in the history of the world. You work for Google, right? Yeah. You can Google it. All right? Because people actually think this is true. Now, in fact, 80% of the market share of mousetraps are that mousetrap. The one you're seeing up there, which was like the 100th patent. But everybody's thinking, boy, if I could just come up with it. Now, there's all kind of mousetraps. There's free-range mousetraps. There's release mousetraps. I don't know what people are trying to do. Okay, I think they're trying to actually kill a mouse. The idea is, if people can't find you, they don't know who you are, if you don't have a way to get to them, if you don't build a sense of reputation, if you don't have word of mouth, you're going to go out of business even though you have the greatest mousetrap in the history of the world. It has nothing to do with it. It's about doing great work, letting the world know about it, and making sure people know how to find you. Your vision. It's where it all starts. I call it factor number 1. It's a big idea. A lot of times people will talk about their vision in terms of what they do. That's not a vision. People don't buy into what you do. I make great biscotti. That doesn't move anybody. It's why I make great biscotti that moves people. It's the why. That's what the vision is. It's a huge idea. It's an idea that you probably can't ever get to, but it's what you're all about. It's linked to your values, which is who you are. When you're running a small business, you don't pull together a committee and come up with your values. You could do that, but it's a waste of time. Whoever's running the business, those are the values you need to know, because that's what's going to run the business. That's the thing about a small business. It's very different that way. Values, there's just some things we're willing to do in business. There's some things we're not willing to do because of who we are. It defines us. Our values plus our vision. It's where we're heading. It should spring you out of bed in the morning. If it doesn't, you're probably just making biscotti every day. That gets old. Gets old. There has to be another reason you're doing what you're doing. There's something powerful you are trying to do. This man had a powerful vision. His vision was so strong, he could look into the future and foreshadow. He could see what was going to happen. Sometimes he knew what was going to happen. I'm inspired by this photograph. I'm inspired by this man, not just in February, all the time. It teaches me the power of seeing beyond the forest, and impossible things can happen. Factor number 2, cash. My favorite subject. It's not like cash is everything, but it makes a lot of things possible. A lot of things possible. And some of us as small business people are ashamed to talk about it. I love to talk about it all the time. I don't have any problem talking about it. I don't have a mixed relationship with money. I really like it. Okay, I really like it. There's a check on this page and a smiley face. Because what we're in business to do is sign the back of checks. Sign the back of checks. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm just wondering. I love signing the back of them because it's somebody saying what I do and what I'm doing has value and adds value. That's how you know, because they give you a check, maybe a credit card. Okay? But you understand I'm saying money moving in your direction based on what you're doing. The other thing we do in business is we sign the front of these. I shed a tear both times for 2 completely different reasons. Okay? I got 2 lovely sons, 26 and 24. Matt, are you here? Yep. Hey, Matt, there's my son, my oldest. So I love him. I love his brother. You know how people, their baby's born and their eyes well up with tears? That didn't happen to me. But when I got my first check as a self-employed person to sign the back, it happened. Okay? It absolutely happened. Income statement, where we keep score. I'm not going through this in great detail. I'm just going to pull one thing out to make a point. We know what this is about. It's about being happy on the top line and happy on the bottom line. The way we do that is do great work, add great value, money comes in our direction, we sign the back of that check, and we keep all the rest of our costs as low as possible. And then we get to a good bottom line. What I want to talk about here, because I'm going to spend the last bit of our time together talking about negotiations, is overhead. You know what overhead is, right? Maybe your office space, your telecom costs, internet costs, your car note, gasoline, your attorney's fees, your accounting fees, your workers' comp, your healthcare costs. Those things are overhead. There's accounting definitions for it, but the most important thing to know is those are all the things the customer does not want to pay for. They're coming to you for biscotti, not for those things. I see this mistake made all the time. People present their pricing and go into what their overhead is. You're blowing it. Customers don't like your overhead. They don't want to pay for any of those things. They just want to imagine it doesn't exist, so I let them imagine it. Okay, now I know all about it, but I don't bring it up. I would only bring it up if I was pinned into a corner and somebody specifically asked me what it is. And I'd be worried when that happens, because I think I know what's coming next. They're trying to give me some 2% on top of my overhead or something like that. which is running my business, which I prefer they not do. But overhead, knowing it, don't bring it up. I'm just attaching cash to this so that we are reminded of the difference between profit and cash. You could be running a very, very profitable business. You could even get awards in the community and have no cash. Now, if you either know what I'm talking about or you don't. Some of you might be just getting started and like, what's he talking about? It's not possible. People who have been in this game for a while know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the difference in timing. People will say they're going to pay you in 30 days, but they don't. 60 days, 90 days. And you have in your contract net 30. And if you get paid late, 1.5% penalty. You're never going to get that penalty. It's not going to happen. It just makes you feel better to put it on there, though. It just doesn't happen in the real world. So we have to keep score. We have to be mindful of cash. This is my mascot. I have a lot of them who run around. I'm born and raised here in the city. A lot of them run around in my backyard. I love them because on a hot day, they're working. On a cold day, they're working. When it's sunny and beautiful and they got plenty of food, they're getting more nuts and putting it away because they know winter is coming, even though it didn't come for us this year. That's the mindset of the entrepreneur, I believe. Always preparing for that dark day because it will come. Always preparing for that contract that will go back because it will happen. I just wanted to make this statement that I think this is an okay thing. A lot of people seem to think it's not. They seem to think, oh, you're a small business, you're a minority-owned business, you've got a $100,000 contract, you're now out of the program. What? There's some limit to what I can make? I don't understand it. The other thing is, when you get $1 million contract, you don't make $1 million, especially your first one. You're lucky to break even. At least that's my experience. But some people think, oh, he got $1 million contract. They don't know the difference between the top line and the bottom line. Strategy, factor number 3, how we're going to get from point A to point B. People, factor number 4. Got to have strong people around us. It's the key. We can't do any of it alone. We might want to. We just can't do it. People aren't always what we think they are. A lot of times we're just interviewing actors, people who are good at that, but after 60 minutes, they're tapped out. They don't have much left to give. It's our job to try and figure it out. The way we do it is by hiring slowly, developing, rewarding, recognizing people, and firing quickly. The whole package. If you don't remember anything else, just remember hire slowly, fire quickly. Now, you want to be thoughtful. You can't just be firing everybody quickly. You want to think about it. These are people that we're talking about. Leadership, that's you. If you're like me, you get this thing started, you start moving, you're the CEO. You're the COO. You're the VP of HR. You're the head of marketing, director of finance and accounting. You're all those things, because that's the way it goes. Later you start to grow, you can start to bring some other people in. But depending on what's going on, you put on the right hat. It's the life that we've chosen. It's complicated. So I've got a few suggestions. One of them is to register. Now I put on here by March 31st. I know Jason said earlier by April 30th. That's the formal deadline. Why would we want to wait till the last minute? We want to be ahead of schedule and under budget in everything that we do and be sending that signal to everybody that that's who we are. We're under budget and we're ahead of schedule. That's just what we do. That's how we do it. Well, what about being on time? What about being on time? Under budget and ahead of schedule. That's the way that we do this work. Not a bad signal to send. Negotiation is what I'm going to focus on. Something that I think will help you around getting work for the Super Bowl, or more importantly, getting work tomorrow, someplace else. Long time before the Super Bowl. We got a lot of business to do before the Super Bowl. We're not just waiting for the Super Bowl. This is my definition of a negotiation. It's basically, if there's two sides, and both sides have something to gain, there's room for a deal. So I'm going to kind of talk it through to kind of pass on some suggestions about how to do that, especially in a tricky situation where there's a lot of competition for work. So to prepare for the negotiation, we're thinking of a series of questions to ask. This is our homework to get ready. We want to be thinking about the value that we add. A lot of people got good biscotti. A lot of people have great biscotti. It's got to be more than that. There has to be something special about my biscotti, and I need to know what it is and be able to communicate it and deliver a piece of biscotti that validates what I said. What problems are we helping our customers solve? What pressure is our customer under? You know, if you were in the transportation business and gas was at an all-time high, those businesses were suffering. So sometimes you might be trying to sell them biscotti. They're under pressure because of the cost of fuel. It takes research. Study your potential customer. Know what's going on in their business. Those are the kinds of problems you want to solve. You don't just want to be selling a biscotti. You want to add additional value than that. That takes homework. Are you a good match? I'm selling biscotti. I might be selling the kind of biscotti that, because of the way we make it, because of where we buy the raw materials, because of the time it takes, mine is at a premium. I charge more than everybody else because mine's worth more than everybody else. That's just what I chose to do. It's my value proposition. Well, if Costco calls and says, we'd like to have your biscotti, unless I'm crazy, I'm not doing that because I know what they're about. They have a different value proposition, the lowest price possible. We're on a collision course. I can go in there if I want to. That story's not going to have a good ending. It's just them being who they are. I want to keep being who I am. So every match isn't a good match. So I just have at the bottom, are we a good match? Now you're sitting down. You start with the icebreaker. You know, that light conversation? I like to have like 15 seconds of it at most. I like to kind of get to the business. Everybody has a different style. I'm just sharing with you mine. I kind of want to get to why we're here and the thing that brought us together. And I don't want to say, you know, hey, what about those Niners? I might be talking to a Raider fan. So I don't want to bring up spurious things that neither of us really care about to break the ice. I want to bring up something else. Something I noticed about the industry. Something I noticed about their business. I want to talk about that so that they know I've researched their business and I'm here to do business. How's your family? Great. So how's the price of gold affecting your work? That's kind of what I want to do as the icebreaker. Okay, I want to go right to work and get into work and reveal that I've done research because I'm sending a message. I'm not here just to talk about price. I got a lot more to offer. I know that's going to come up, but I'm trying to do everything I can to not have it come up until I've had a way to deliver everything that I can do, everything that I have to offer. That's why I'm breaking in this way. Then I want to ask them some questions and I want to listen. I always start with, what can I do to help? Hi, nice, thank you very much. Yeah, good. Coffee? No. I've already had coffee. I always make sure I already had coffee. I don't see any benefit in sipping something hot while I need to be thinking. So I'm kind of, what can I do to help? Not, here's my biscotti. What can I do to help? We could help me move my desk. I'm more than happy to do that. I'm ecstatic to do it. Okay? I'll do whatever it takes. That's the message I'm trying to send. So then I want to ask, okay, so you're doing the Super Bowl. You're handling all the breakfast. I've got biscotti. What are you hoping to accomplish at the breakfast that you're doing for all the most high-powered individuals in the world who will be flying from around the world to events that you have the responsibility of delivering a great breakfast experience? Well, I want people to come in, and everything that they have in my tent, they bite it or they drink it, and they say, wow, where did this come from? That's what I want to create. Okay. All right. And I want them to be curious about where it came from. Okay. I've just learned a lot. We aren't talking about price. I'm hearing about a few other things, and I've got a few more questions. I'm just trying to get I can't think of a better word than ammunition, but I wish I had a more politically correct one, but I'm trying to get my ammunition, okay, for delivering and reaching a deal not solely based on price, because I don't want to go in the price rat hole. So I'm asking questions. What are you worried about? Well, I'm worried because, I've done this before, and people provided things like biscotti, and when it got here, it was stale. It wasn't fresh. Good to know. They value something, freshness. Good to know. How did it go? Any fears that you have? I'm just trying to learn all that I can. And I'm listening. Here's a listening scale. I'm listening, not thinking while they're talking, as soon as their mouth stops, I'm going to say something. I'm listening to try and find a way to deliver more value to try and get this deal, which only happens if I'm willing to change my point of view. 2007, an example of this. A friend of mine called, said, Mike, I'm buying a house. I just filled out a sheet of paper. They just told me to write down how much money I made, and I faxed it in, and they gave me the loan. I remember the day he called and told me that. And I go, yeah, what's up? He goes, don't you think that's strange? And I was like, well, not really, but... Now, we know what happened later. But at that time, it was happening all the time. It didn't seem that weird. But I remember the conversation, because when my friend called and I hung up, I went, that's kind of... And he's black. I mean, damn. Okay, something's happening. So I'm just saying that sometimes there are these signals, and if we pay attention, we can get them. And that one actually affected me. A little bit later, 2008, I'm having breakfast with my friend who tells me, Mike, I did what you always say, which is, if you need a line of credit, you'll never get one, so go get one when you don't need one, which is what I always say, because it's my life's experience. If you need it, you're not going to get it. So some of you are out there now, well, I don't need one. Go get one, because the day will come. It will come, but when you need it, you're not going to get it, because the math's not going to add up. So, and he goes, so I did what you said. I go, great. He said, but I had a $150,000 line. I went and got $10,000. 3 days later, I got a note from the bank telling me my line of credit had been changed from $150,000 to $12,000. That happened. I told everybody I knew. Became known for telling everybody. I tweeted it, blogged it, taught about it, what was going on. And then a lot of people benefited from that, some didn't. But I'll tell you what I did. I was in downtown Oakland, I ran to the bank. I ran to Chase Bank on 51st and Telegraph. I mean, ran. I got there, I was out of breath. And I was like, give me my money. And they're like, what? Mr. Bush? Give my money. Mr. Bush, and I go, I'll write it down. Don't write it down, they'll shoot you. I got all the money on my credit line. That was the smartest thing that I did, because they began converting credit lines in the banking crisis. Some of you went through this. Some of you went through it. So it was by listening and paying attention that two great things happened, and putting them to that something was happening, and I was able to go and get my money, and it helped a lot. The truth can become easy to find. The price rat hole, when we go in it, your price has to get lower. That moment we don't like. What I'm saying is, don't live there. You got to get out. You got to jump in there, give them your price. My biscotti's $10 a bag. But let me talk to you about my biscotti. That's jumping back out. You don't want to live down there. Some people live in there and they furnish it with chairs and lamps. Okay, I know these people. They call me and they go, Mike, I need some help. Why? My pricing's too high. How do you know? Because I'm not getting the work. It may be something else. No, it's my pricing. How do you know it's your pricing? Because they said it was my pricing. Sometimes they just say it's your pricing and it's not your pricing. No, it's my pricing. That's somebody living in the pricing rat hole. You don't want to be there. You want to pop out of that. And you want to be thinking about what else is going on in terms of your value proposition. What else do you have to offer? Oh, so you want biscotti that's fresh. Well, the Super Bowl is going to be at Levi Stadium. I found a kitchen facility about a mile away. I'm actually going to contract and cook all my biscotti in the 3 days prior, a mile away from Levi Stadium. Because you know what? The traffic's going to be really bad, even though you haven't brought that up. I'll be able to walk it there and get it to you, and it'll be fresh. You see what I'm doing? Okay? I'm not talking about price now. It's the things I listened to earlier when I asked those questions about what was important to this person. I'm blowing their mind at this moment. They want to just say, give me a lower price, but I've stunned them for a moment because they never thought about something like that. Me exceeding their expectations. It's not hard for me to find a kitchen down there to cook in. They're all over the place. Commercial kitchens all over the place. It's not hard to do. So I'm getting out of price and talking about other things in my value proposition. Your value proposition should be quantitative. When you describe it, having the best biscotti doesn't mean a thing. Maybe you have the softest biscotti. Maybe it's the freshest biscotti. Maybe you got the kind of biscotti that when people are sitting there at the Super Bowl, high-powered people, and they're just biting this biscotti and like, this is unbelievable biscotti. Tell me about this biscotti. Where'd you get it? Oh, I got it from this guy. He's, bakes, and actually he baked it just about a mile from here, all locally sourced, gluten-free. I don't know what that means, but you got to say that now. Okay? And that's what you're having. And guess what? So they dip it in the coffee, and it doesn't break off and fall in the coffee cup. Because that's how my biscotti performs. Because of the way I've made it, it holds together. Because when half of it breaks off in the cup, you end up drinking the cup, and then you're trying to figure out how to get it. You can't reach your fingers in it. So then you finally, at the right time, you go, whoop, and then there's coffee on your shirt. And you're at the Super Bowl party with coffee on your shirt. Not a good situation. So you're just describing to the customer all the things you think about, which is them and their event, and that you want it to happen. So they know it's about much more than price, this person that I'm talking about. Tricks are for kids. I'm just talking about negotiation games that people play. Don't play them. It's not worth playing it. I'm talking about hard work and preparation. That's the only game worth playing. You need to know how low you can go, but I put no in quotes because sometimes when I'm negotiating, based on something the person says, I immediately find a way I can drop my price because I can take some costs down based on something they said. So some people will say, go in and know how low you can go. You don't know how low you can go. You need to do your math, but go and listen and ask some questions. You may find a way. Oh, are trucks going to be moving? Oh, so you're going to be delivering things to Oakland from Santa Clara, and then the truck's going back empty? How about if I put my stuff on that empty truck? That would be great. It's even greater for me. It's even greater for me. So you're looking for ways to take your costs down, so don't be too set, but you got to know what your costs are. You're thinking of making them successful, and you're trying not to reveal your cost. You don't want to get into long conversations about your cost. When people are asking you about your overhead, know that you are losing. Know things have swung into their favor. Now, they're just trying to help is what they say. I've never been helped that way. Been doing this a long time. I've never gotten any help by people getting into my cost structure. Just hasn't happened. They still feel the price isn't low enough. You know the negotiation's going tough when you got to draw on Martin Luther King twice. We're not giving up hope because we're optimistic people and we're trying to find a way. Then usually this person will say something like, it's not personal, it's just business. What they don't understand is for us, these are the same thing. Or I'll speak for myself. They're the same thing. Some people say, well, you shouldn't identify yourself with your work. I'll work on that in my next life. I fully identify myself with my work. I fully identify myself with this. This is a big part of who I am, how I do in business, and whether I succeed or not. It's a huge part. It shouldn't be, Mike. You should be more balanced. Maybe next time. It's a big part for me, so it is personal. And what I'm really thinking here in my brain with this person I'm working so hard for is, are they crazy? That's what I'm starting to wonder. Because there are crazy people that you meet. There are people that I saw come into Oakland Coliseum, come into the Candlestick Park with a plan. They were going to run a pass route up and then cut into the middle of the field. That was the plan. So like Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get hit. And you would see them do it. Someone would, I'm going to run, and then after I catch it, I'm going to get in the end zone. I'm going to do a little Harlem shake, and I'm going to drop it like it's hot. Okay? What they didn't know is this man was waiting in the middle of the field. That's Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott, if you don't know who that is. Greatest defensive back in history. He had a different idea of what was going to happen. But sometimes there are crazy people, and so you're trying to figure out, are you negotiating with a crazy person, or can you try and work this out? So sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm like, I've worked so hard. I'm not getting anywhere. Is it because of the man? I mean, like somebody you work for? Is that what's happening here? Because you and me, we're doing good, and you know I'm going to deliver this biscotti, and it's going to be great, but you keep pushing me on price. Is there something else going here? Because what I'm trying to do is say, I can't deliver the lowest price unless we work together. And I'm trying to find out from this person, what else do I need to do? What else do I need to do? Now, they may say you have to drop your price, and I might not be able to do it, but I'm exploring every option before I do it. I'm not dropping it until it's a last resort, because I'm not going there. I'm working on how to not do that. Here's the facts. To deliver the lowest price possible for a small business is not possible. If you think it's possible, come see me later in my booth. To deliver the lowest price possible, like a Costco or a Walmart, you have to have economies of scale. You got to be able to buy raw materials in bulk. You got to have room for inventory, which means you have to have capital to do both those two things, which means you have to have access to capital. For a lot of us in here, it's difficult to have access to capital. And when you're small, it's really difficult. So by definition, you could have good prices. You could have great prices. The lowest price possible just isn't true. But there are some people who expect somehow miraculously that we can do it. I have found you can't educate people who think that way. You just need to get that information and perhaps move on. The other thing I'd suggest to you is in that moment of truth, think cash over profit. A lot of people are thinking about profit or thinking about price. Think cash, and here's what I mean. You may have a financial model on how much you're going to charge for the biscotti, but you may have something going on in your personal life where you need cash. To me, that trumps the financial model every day. I remember, this is a great white shark. If you're in the water with one, don't bleed. But it's here for a different reason. His teeth. Great white sharks have like 3 rows of teeth. My youngest son had like 3 rows of teeth. He's got beautiful teeth now. But I remember when we took him in and the dentist said how much it was going to cost to get his teeth fixed, which was a year or 2 of extractions. Mike Bush was on sale then. That's what I mean. I had financial models, but I needed cash. So the guy said something like $4,200. I'm negotiating a deal for like $9,000 or $10,000, and I'm just, because I'm kind of buzzing, I'm like, $4,200. He's like, how'd you come up with that? I don't know, it just came to me. And if I can get it by Friday, we're good. You see what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with your Excel spreadsheet. That had nothing to do with your pricing models. It had everything to do with real life, which is what it's about. So don't get hung up on your price and your profit. And if I do it low this time, they're going to not think high of me. I don't care what they think of me. I'm not in business for how they're going to think of me. I'm in business to do business and meet the needs of my family. So cash over profit, and then profit over price. Okay? That's the message there. Future customers. Just wanted to pass on a word. I know there's some customers here that some of you want to do business with. There's the team from Business Connect here. I want to pass on a few things that I've learned. Don't squeeze us too tight. It really affects our ability to do what you want us to do. Talk to us about more than price, because actually you need more than price. You may say that's all that matters. It never is true. There's actually more. Let us know how we can make you the MVP, how we can make you great at this event. I put this slide in here. We don't want the 25% because it wasn't mentioned earlier. I might have missed it. This Super Bowl is the first Super Bowl in history that 25% of the funds raised are going to get donated to nonprofits. Okay? That's the Bay Area touch. It is a fantastic thing. But everybody in here, we're for-profits. It'll be a disaster if we get some of this money. That meant we turned our for-profits into nonprofits without the tax benefit. It's just a horrible situation. So we don't want any of the 25%. But there's a lot of other people that can be squeezed before you squeeze us. You can squeeze ESPN. Okay, we want what ESPN wants, a good business situation. We want what Ford wants, what Budweiser wants. They want a good business situation, and they don't want to be squeezed on price. We want what GoDaddy wants. All the people who advertise in the Super Bowl. These are the things that we want too. A fair deal, and I really think we should get one to get some of the 75%, the money that's going to for-profit businesses. Why? We don't leave after the game. We live here. That's why. They say when you have breakfast and you got some bacon and eggs on the plate, the chicken was involved, but the pig was committed. We're committed. Okay, we live here. We employ people here. We're worth additional consideration. We raise families here. That's our secret part of our value proposition, which is why there's a different consideration beyond just price. We don't need a handout. We never have. We're going to get in the best shape. We're going to get Super Bowl certified by March 31st. We're going to take it one play at a time, like the players say. We're going to study all the film. We're going to do everything required in order to deliver what the customer needs, which is far more than just price. So just open up the door and let my biscotti in. Thank you very much.
Let's give Michael another round of applause.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
Now, Michael is wearing his Hall of Fame jacket.
That's
How
right.
many of you noticed that?
In honor of
what they
Rodney
wear
Lott.
That's what they wear in Canton. So, Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Stay with me for 1 second because I have something very important to announce before we finish with our last brief panel and then get to our expo. As I said, I started out by talking about Michael as a philanthropist. Now, he just said some very profound things about the work we're doing with nonprofits, which is distinct from the work we are doing with for-profits, which we are very happy about. But Michael has been very generous, not just with his time today, but we're proud to announce today that the first 200 businesses that have registered with Business Connect and are approved into the program will get Michael's 8 Factors course on Udemy.com through his generous donation of that. Those courses are $100